Hello, WAVA friends.
Hello.
Hi, thank you for joining us.
Hello.
Hello.
Happy to have you. So excited. All right, we're going to give it a few minutes here, maybe just another 1 minute, and we'll wait to see if we have a few more friends coming in so that everybody can hear all of our information. But I'm so happy to have you. My name is Miss Chamberlain, and I recognize a lot of you, and I'm so happy to see you again. And I'm really excited that you're a part of our current 2022 school spelling bee. So that is fantastic. I know, yeah.
Just to make sure this isn't the actual spelling bee, right?
No, yep, you are
Oh
lucky today is not the bee, so you are safe.
I did not practice.
I
need to start practicing.
I want to say that I want to go to Washington, D.C.
Same.
I would like to.
I have never been there.
Gaming laptop though.
I was just like, I want to go to Washington, D.C.
I
Now,
know, what
do
a
you
pretty
think the
amazing
prize
prize.
is?
Yeah, there's some pretty amazing
I want to go.
I can go.
I want to go to Nashville.
I would love to go to Nashville. That would be amazing.
What's the prize?
The only reason I came.
Yep, we'll go over that in just a minute.
Thought that we were going to get a gaming laptop if we became.
So I am going to go ahead and ask all of our friends to just mute for a few minutes, and we'll have some time to chat, so don't worry. But if you could go ahead and mute, that would be very helpful. And we are going to just have some time today. So first of all, thank you for signing up, and thank you for being interested in participating in our bee, because it's amazing. And whether it's your first time or you're returning, or I know we have a few winners in the room that I recognize. So wherever you're at, we are very happy to have you, and we are here to help you throughout the process. It's supposed to be fun and a great experience. So I know a few of you might be nervous, but remember that this is all about having a good time, and that myself, the team at WAVA, all of our Stride staff, we are all here to support each of you. So I will make sure, I'm going to put my email in the chat now, and then I will also put it again at the end. But please reach out to me, or learning coaches can reach out to me with any questions that you have along the way. And I'm always here to help you. I will record this information today so that I can share it out in case you have any questions. And you can also reach out if you have questions. So our bee is coming up. It is on February 1st. So I think the first thing is just to note that that is a Tuesday. And I do see a few hands raised, so I appreciate that, and I will make sure to take some time and pause for questions. So don't worry, we're just going to try to get through a few things first. So the bee is on a Tuesday, and you want to make sure to mark your calendar. It does start, our first bee will start at 12:30, but you need to be on by 12:15 for the 3rd to 5th grade group. So one suggestion, especially for learning coaches out there or students, is just to make sure you have that noted on your home calendar or as a reminder. And if you have any classes, we tried to pick that time thinking that most required classes would be completed by that time. But if you have some on your schedule, just go ahead and email your teacher, let them know you're participating in the bee, and they will completely understand. And so do not worry about that at all. So we know that it's on the calendar and we're here to help. So before we go ahead, I was going to share my screen, and we'll kind of go through together the information and the rules. And that way, in case you have questions, you can ask me while we're all together. And I thought what might be fun, though, is because I do see a student in the room that actually was our first place national winner last year. And I see Miss Alani Gonzalez, and I thought maybe we could say hi. And do you want to share with us, Alani, a little bit about your experience for some students that might be interested? You're welcome.
Well, personally, it was a very fun experience, even though I went virtually in the nationals. Not only did I practice my vocabulary, it strengthens my vocabulary and education, but it's also a good social experience. You get to meet peers from all over the country in the nationals, and yeah, it's a really fun experience. So I hope that we all have fun, and I can't wait to see you on the day.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. And yeah, I think that is a great reminder to all of us that each of you have a chance. Like, it might seem like that seems really impossible that you could make it to regionals or all the way to nationals, but we ended up actually having 2 WAVA students make it all the way to our national level competition, and Miss Alani placed first. So each of you have the opportunity, and definitely it could happen. So that's very exciting for you. And then just a quick minute before we go through, if you wanted to share, Alani, I know that you took your experience, and I feel like after that you wrote a book, which I believe is on Amazon. I don't know if you wanted to share with anybody what your book is called.
Oh yeah, it's actually before the spelling bee.
Oh, it was before. What is your book called?
It's called Pumpkin. It's a children's book.
Ah, well, very fun. I will, just for fun, I can always share that out with our students too. And please email me, because I know that some of you might have artwork you have or stories you create and things like that, and I would love to know and share them out. All right, so I know that there will be a lot of fun questions, and I will go ahead and I'm going to share my screen. We'll go through some of the details together, and this is an email of information that you also all received, but I just want to kind of state some of the important items, and then we'll come back together and we'll have some time to open mic and to answer some questions that you might have. While I'm sharing my screen, I don't usually see the chat questions as they come up. And so let's see, I'm going to look for a student that maybe Miriam Kelly, do you think you would mind keeping an eye on the chat for me? And if there is somebody that needs help, maybe you could help reply or let me know while we're going through this. Let me see if that works for you. Is that all right, Miriam? Is that a thumbs up?
Yeah, I can do that.
All right, thank you. Sounds good. Okay, let's go ahead. I'm going to share my screen. So you should all be able to see this. This is the rules and information that went out. And I'll try to go through it as briefly as possible and just point out the things that are really important for us to remember. So again, this is for grades 3rd to 10th grade. And so you do currently need to be in 3rd all the way up to a current 10th grade students. This year, there was an opportunity for non-WAVA students in Washington State to compete separately, and then they would come together and compete against each of you. But they've changed that now, so number 2 doesn't apply. We do not have any non-WAVA students that will be competing against you or with you. We will have separate bees, so there's a few steps. Today is the 1st, so it's our pre-bee meeting. Today's the 18th, so we get to all meet together. We do have a video message, and I will put that in the chat, but we're asking all participants, it doesn't matter if you win or go next to the next level, but we're asking all participants to add a short video message that will just introduce who you are so that we can see who you are and we have your name and a little bit about yourself or what you're excited for in the bee. So I will put that video link, and you have a few weeks to work on that if you haven't done it yet. If you're in 3rd to 5th grade, you will be on February 1st, and you'll need to be on your Zoom link by 12:15. So you will have 15 minutes before it starts to be in the waiting room and wait for the judges to check you in before it begins at 12:30. 6th to 8th graders, you will start at 2 p.m. and you need to arrive at 1:45. And then 9th to 10th grade, 3:30 p.m. and you need to arrive by 3:15. So it is really important to arrive on time. If you do arrive after the start time of the bee, unfortunately, we won't be able to let you in. So you do need to make sure that you're on time and ready to go. So this will be a virtual competition, and that makes it really exciting and different. But it is oral, so we are expecting that each of you will be able to spell the words, which means that your microphone settings and your camera settings, you need to make sure that you check and have all of that working properly before you join the call for the bee. So a few reminders during the bee, like right now, I know I have a virtual background on, so it's hard to see, but like I have paper in front of me and pens and crayons next to me. So you will not be able to have any of that next to you or in front of you when you are competing. And you cannot have any assistance of any kind. The study words, those have been shared out and they're at the end of this list. I'll go ahead and go over that with you in a minute. And those are study word suggestions where, we do encourage you to read through them and to practice. But of course, the words can be different. There can be a few different words that are in the official Bee, but it is our suggested spelling list to practice, and it is attached in the bottom of the email that went out, and I can send it once again also. When you join, we will all have your names as you've enrolled in the school, and we'll go through like a check-in of who you are and make sure we have all of your names correctly. And each student does need to have a learning coach present or an adult present with you. That's really important because we do need to make sure that we're following the rules, and we're asking that an adult present at the time of the Bee can help us to ensure that, since we're in a virtual setting. Students, you'll have to sign into Zoom, like I said, no less than 15 minutes before. So you'll want to arrive 15 minutes ahead. You'll hang out in the waiting room. And you are not allowed to have any writing material tools, any writing or visual words either. So things like your clothing, you'll have to have like a solid shirt. You couldn't have a shirt that says WAVA or school is cool or whatever kind of shirt you have, because that may have a word that could come up in our Bee. No hoodies or hats, things that might block your face or your view from us. And then you also want to take a look at wherever you're sitting during the Bee and make sure that behind you there isn't any like posters or artwork or pictures that have words on it. So before February 1st, just think about what you might wear and then where you'd like to sit in your house. That will help to make sure that you're following those rules. Once the competition begins, you'll need to remain online the whole time to participate in the Bee. And if there is any technical difficulties or things that come up, you can raise your hand or you can put it in the chat during the Bee, and we will have staff on hand that can help you and come up with alternative options, or maybe help skip your turn until we can resolve your technical issue so that we can help make sure you can stay in the Bee. There will not be any help from audience. And this is something really important to remember, because it's so easy when you're watching and you hear someone else get a word to just want to spell it out with your mouth. And even if you're on mute, somebody could see that, or you might just forget and want to like type it out, or just it's really important to remember that that could disqualify you. So make sure that you are thinking of your actions and you don't want to risk being disqualified for anything or trying to help another student with a word. Let's see. So judges can disqualify any speller at any time that might ignore a request to start a word or spell a word. So also keeping in mind that during the Bee,
we might have some.
Keep an ear out for when you are called. Like listen for your name and make sure that you know who you're after, which we'll go over when we're in the waiting room together.
We'll put that in.
In the competition, so we have used before a say, spell, say method. And when you do that, if I got the word tree, for example, I would be given the word tree and I would say, okay, tree, T-R-E-E, tree. So you'd want to say the word, spell the word, and then say the word again at the end. So we're asking students to do that and to follow that. And it helps us as judges to be able to hear clearly and know that you're spelling the correct word. This format might change for regionals and nationals where they may not require you to, but for the WAVA level, we're going to ask that you do that. And we will help several times to remind you. So don't worry, students, like we will help you throughout the Bee and give you reminders to encourage you to remember to say that. Once you do start spelling a word, and if you have said a letter already that is incorrect, you cannot go back to recorrect it. So you can't say T-R-E-A. Oh, wait, never mind. It's T-R-E-E. So you need to think really good and take a pause before you spell it out loud, because once you say those letters, that makes it your answer. So it's important to maybe think and pause and have it in your mind before you say the actual letters you need to say. The speller needs to indicate words, apostrophes, capitals, punctuation, accent marks, things like that. You will not be eliminated if there is a misplaced accent mark. However, capital letters are important. So we do want you to have capital letters included. At any time, a speller may request that a word be pronounced again, or you can ask for the definition and have a sentence or an example provided. And I see Alani has a question. So why don't we go ahead and take a pause right there. And Alani, do you want to go ahead and ask your question for us?
How are we supposed to say the accent marks in the capital? How are we supposed to?
Oh, like how would you answer with that?
Yeah.
So, let's see, sorry, I needed to return a call. So you would like say that it was a state, like Washington or something was the word at hand. You would say capital WASHINGTON. An accent, I don't really think will come up. I think what it's saying is like if there was like a hyphen or like an apostrophe, those would be yeah, I'll find out some more details on that. All I know is right now they're saying capital is required, but if you had the an accent different or you missed that you would not be disqualified for that. But I'll go ahead, I'm going to send out a follow-up email to everybody and I'll make sure to get exact clarification from the national team on that question. That's a good question, Melanie. All right, so let me see. I see a few more hands raised from Miriam. Let's go ahead and do a question from Miriam, and then we'll do Anaya, and then we will continue with the rest of it. So Miriam, did you have a question?
Yeah, on the list of words, one of the words is like deja vu, and so there's like a mark in there.
Like the mark, yeah.
Also, somebody asked a question. Ashlyn, she said she needed to cancel, like she signed up, but she won't be available during the spelling bee. Like, what did she do?
All right, no problem. So I can write that down now, and then students, if anything changes, you can always email me. And then when you arrive in the waiting room on the day of, we will do a roll call also. So the students in the waiting room, we will have that exact list to go into the bee. And so if you were not in the waiting room, then you would not be on the list to go into the bee either. So thank you, Ashlyn, for asking that. And then for that example of like deja vu, for example, with that accent mark you're talking about, that accent mark, if you didn't include that and say that that's there, you would not be disqualified, is what that's saying. All right, let's see. I saw that there's one more question. It looks like Max has their hand raised. It's Max 2404244. I'm not sure if that's your first name or not. There we go.
Not to. That's for my class. But so my question was, I forgot what my question was.
It's okay. We can always, I'll write your name down and then we can always check back in before the end and you can put it in chat too. All right, and I do see a few more. I'm going to go through a little bit more in case I answer a question that someone has, and then we will open it up. So if you do have something that comes into your mind, make sure you write it down, and that way we can have time to go over all of it together at the end. So when you are up and it's your turn to spell a word, you can repeat a word up to 5 times. You can ask for the announcer to repeat it 5 times. So if you were given the word apple and you just are not sure how to spell it and you're trying to think of it, you have up to 5 times that you can ask for it to be repeated. And that gives you some time to think about it. So you can say, can you repeat the word? Or you could say, can you give me the definition of the word if you need some extra help? But if you just are thinking and need extra time, you could ask them to repeat it up to 5 times. And that does give you some time to think about it. So remember not to answer too quickly and to pause and take your time when you need it. Let's see here. If the correct spelling of either word, so if no definition of a homonym is given, the correct spelling of either word will be accepted or correct. So if there's a word that has 2 different spellings, but you do not get a definition that helps you to spell that, we would accept either version of that word that you're asked to spell. When there's 2 spellers that remain, so like towards the end of each level B, and we're down to 2 contestants, the elimination procedure will change a little bit. At that point, we'd have a new round with just those 2 spellers. And then if one speller misspells the word, the second person will be given the opportunity to spell that same word. And if they spell that word correctly, then we go on to the next. So if the second speller would spell the word correctly plus the next word that they're given, the second speller would then be declared the spelling champion. If one of the final 2 spellers misses a word, then after correcting the error and you misspell the next word submitted, then the other speller gets a chance to correct it, but must also spell a new word in order to win. And then if both of our final 2 candidates misspell the same word, both will continue and a new word is given. So all of these things are more things the judges will worry about, and we'll be there to help along the way. So don't worry about that. And when we do get down to final 2 candidates, we will pause and we'll refresh to remind each of you about how the final 2 in the round will work. So the decision of all the judges and of the announcer will be final with all of our questions, and our judges will weigh in on final votes together. They're able to chat while you're doing your B to make sure that all judges agree with the answers that you guys are given. And any problem that we have relating to spelling of any words, we will definitely consult, and the judges will go over them in chat, like on their own string together, to make sure that we are on track and that we're making sure we have the right answers that are said. And if any protest, like say that you thought something was done incorrectly, but it's after the contest has ended, unfortunately that would be too late. But during a word, like say that you feel like you were disqualified, but you really think that the judges heard you wrong or something happened, you can put that into the chat, and we'll have moderators there that can look at that, talk to the judges, and just be sure that they're all in agreement and that we didn't miss something. But once a B has ended, that is the final say. We can always review something just to review it for you, but it is final after the B closes. Let's see here. So yeah, the judges are in control, like their decisions are final, but we are here to support you guys, and we're here to make sure that we go over all the rules and make you feel comfortable. So there is a registration link, which I believe most of you have already filled out. Just some dates to remember is that after the first, the students, there'll be one winner from each of our Bs. So from 3rd to 5th, 6th to 8th, and from 9th and 10th grade. So we'd have 3 students that would all go on to our regional B, and that will be in March. We don't have the exact date yet, but as soon as we have it, we'll give it to you. And that is virtual as well. And it's with all of the students in the Western region of the United States. And then the national B will be in May. So we don't have the exact date yet, so that will get out as soon as possible. And that is an in-person opportunity where you would fly to Washington, D.C. with yourself and a family member. And that is an expense-paid trip to go there and compete in our national level B. And then at the end of the sheet that went out is practice words. And there is 3 different difficulty levels that are attached. And then I'm going to stop sharing for just a second so I can come back to see each of you. And one thing, I think someone had asked about prizes. And I do have a list of prizes. They were finalizing the amounts, but they're Amazon gift cards with some really cool kind of like swag gear from Stride. And I believe the top prize at National is like if you won Nationals this current year, obviously you got the trip to go there, but if you won in your category, I believe it's a $2,500 Amazon gift card at the national level this year. And regionals, I believe, is 500. And then at our state level, I'm looking again, but I think it's $50 or 100. So I will find the final amount and put that in my email that goes out to all of you.
That's amazing.
It is amazing.
I want to win.
I know, it is amazing. So let's go ahead. Thank you so much, Miriam, for helping with that. I appreciate it. And I'm just going to kind of look through my screen. I'm going to check for hands, and we'll just take some hands at a time to make sure that we answer questions. And after this meeting ends later today, I will send out an email to all students 3rd to 10th that will have, again, the information we went over today. I'll put in some of the answers that I've heard to some of your questions, and a link again for the video in case you need to do that. And I will probably, I'm going to put the link in the chat now too if I have it for the video. I think I have it. Okay, right here, I'm putting in the chat the link to the video, and that is a video submission that you can enter to introduce yourself as a participant. So let's go to, I believe, hopefully I'm saying this right, and if not, just let me know and correct me. But Salwa, is that correct? Thank you for being so patient.
Okay, so I actually have 2 small questions.
Okay.
If we need to think a little bit more for the word, and we already asked them to repeat it 5 times, will we be disqualified if we don't say the word?
Yeah, well, you will have up to 2 minutes to answer. And within that, you have up to 5 times to ask for it to be repeated. So you can't ask more than 5 times. So you do want to keep track of that on your, kind of like on your hand or in your head for yourself. And then if you do ask for it to be repeated 5 times, you also have the opportunity to ask for a definition of the word or an example of the word. So those are different ways that can maybe like buy you some more time, like if you're trying to think through how to spell that. And I think one good practice is just to kind of take a deep breath too. So you hear the word, I would take a deep breath and kind of spell it in my head if I can a few times before you start to spell it out loud. And then did you have another question, Salwa?
Yeah. So will all the words in that sheet be tested on us? Like all the difficulties be tested on us?
Well, so for grades 3rd to 5th, typically, and we can't tell you exactly like what the words are, where we start, because then it wouldn't make it a B, a fair B. But typically for 3rd to 5th grade, you're starting in like the difficulty level 1 range. And then there's like a difficulty level 2 set of words that would be for like 5th to 6th grade, 6th to 8th grade range. And then 9th to 10th grade, like the level 3 is typically. But a lot of times, so for like 3rd to 5th grade, for example, say that we're down to like the final 2 students and they're both getting words, the judges could skip ahead and give like a difficulty level 3 word to make it more challenging if the students, are able to do that. So does that help answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, of course. Okay. Hi, Clara and Lucy. Do you have a question?
So do we need to be logged on different computers? Because
For the 2 of you?
yes.
And which grade are you both in? Are you in the same grade?
No, we're in different grades.
I'm in 5th.
And I'm in 3rd.
Okay, so you would both be in the same B though, because you'd be 3rd to 5th grade. So since you are in the same B, yes, you would need to be different computers. And then I would even suggest like different rooms maybe so that it's not distracting and that there's no kickback. Like sometimes if you have 2 students in the same like Zoom that are next to each other and one's off mic, you can kind of get interference from the other. So I would suggest 2 different rooms also, if that's possible. And then if not, and email me, and I can help come up with some ideas. All right.
And do we need to parent with us the same time? Or can like our mom be switching back and forth between us?
Oh yeah. Oh, your learning coach. Yeah, she'll be busy, won't you? If your learning coach is there, that's going to be a busy day. Yes, you do need to have a learning coach in the room with you. So if you have one that is there with you, I guess what you could do is like if you had a living room or something a little more spread out than like a small office, you know, one on one side, one on the other, and like, you know, making sure that your mom is there with you in the middle. Yep, that would be great. Thank you. Great question. Let's
wait, I
go.
have a question. I have a question.
Okay.
Because like my mom and dad, they are very busy at times. So then, but what happens if I cannot join with my learning coach?
So yeah, like if a learning coach can't be present, you mean? So yeah, in order to compete, because it is a virtual spelling bee, you know, typically you'd be, you know, a lot of bees happen where you're on a stage and you have hundreds of people watching you. And so it makes it easier to observe that you're following the rules. And so to make sure that in a virtual setting you are, we do ask that you have a learning coach with you. And a perfect example would be like, I see Maddox on Maddox's screen and Miriam, and it looks like Robbie. I can see like the shoulder or the presence that you have a learning coach right there with you, which is awesome. And that's exactly like what they would be looking for in the bee. So when we start, we would first want to see all of our students. We'd want to see that you have a learning coach right there with you. And then after that, like if, you know, if they need to kind of scoot to the side to give you some more space, that's fine. But right when we check in, we do need to see that they are there with you. And those students that I called out, and even Ilani, like I've seen her learning coach right there. So that's exactly what we need. Great question. Anaya, do you have a question?
Yes. So I have two questions. I'm gonna ask one in the chat so then they can also, so they can also know. But my first question is that do learning coaches also count as teachers, like teachers?
So like if a learning coach is your teacher, you mean, or?
Yeah, if the learning coach is a teacher.
Oh, like if, so is one of your parents actually a teacher, you're saying?
No, like because some kids in this meeting go to private school.
Oh,
and yeah, so yeah, would it just count if our teachers came?
Yep. So yeah, so if you're doing school that is not, if you're doing school not from home, but like, yeah, like if you're in a private school setting or like a cooperative setting, yes, that is fine. Yep. Yeah, it does. Your learning coach doesn't have to be your parent. It could be whoever is your person helping you with your schooling. Yep.
I also have a question.
And is that, let's see, who is that asking the question?
And
right
then,
there.
And then also,
all right, let's let Anaya finish. Sorry about that, Anaya.
Okay. So someone asked in the chat if there the space in the word like the space in deja vu, do we need to state that there is a space?
Yes, you would put a space. You would not put like, you could say if there's an accent mark, but we were saying that you would not be disqualified if you didn't include the accent mark.
So like if I said deja vu, would I have to say DEG? Okay, I don't know how to spell that word.
EGA, yeah. And then
space VW. And VU.
Yeah, so you would just say space. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Okay. Perfect. All right. Yeah, I saw in the questions that some people said, oh, do you go to two schools? And yeah, we do have WAVA students that are full-time. We have some WAVA students that take maybe like 2 courses here and take other courses at their local school. Some do like a cooperative setting. So there's lots of different ways that you can do WAVA. That's a great question. I saw Nathaniel ready to go, and then we'll go over to Salwa. Hi, Nathaniel.
My question was, do you get 5 times to repeat a word during the whole beat or per word?
During each word. So every word, you have a clean slate to start over, and you have up to 2 minutes to answer that word, and you have up to 5 times to ask for it to be repeated. So yeah, each word. So that I mean, that if you think about that, that actually gives you some time to really think about it, and you can ask for it to be repeated. And so you should, you know, hopefully the goal is that you don't feel rushed with that. All right, Salwa, did you have a question?
Yeah. So what if I have like a picture that says smile on it, and if it was one of the words, if the whole time in spelling bee, since we're doing virtual, can I just blur the background like this so nobody can see the word?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. Actually, I was thinking about that because we haven't really added anything in, like language wise, it talks about blurring or not. I think, you know, it doesn't state it, and so I'll look, but I would go with the understanding that we can't have virtual backgrounds or blurring. I think the reason would probably be because when something is blurred, it's hard to tell if you have like an extra, like some utensil or papers or book in your hand, because things get kind of distorted. So I'll take my virtual background off, and then I'll kind of show you what I mean. Okay, so this is like my actual background. This is just the office, the room I'm in. But if like, okay, so I have a little pencil jar here, and it has words on it. So if that was like behind me on a desk, like in your bedroom or wherever you're at, that would not be okay. Like you wouldn't be able to compete because there's words and things that someone can see or be distracted. So what I would suggest is, and I know it's not easy, but find a spot in your house that has like a hallway, like a bare wall, or in your, you know, living room, like the wall I'm next to actually has nothing on it. So maybe like turn, you know, your computer or put your desk facing kind of a wall that's very, you know, plain and nothing around it. And the reason I would do that is just to make sure that no disqualification. I know at our first Bee for the state, it's a little bit easier because we know each of you and it's WAVA teachers and staff, and we're going to help you with that. But when you get to like the regional Bee or the national Bee, you know, there's a chance you could just be disqualified. So make sure to think about that. And, you know, if you have, I know it's very hard to find something without anything, but just, you know, do your best. And if there's things hanging, we all have messes and things around us. Make sure there's no words, nothing with words on it is important.
Okay, if it's like this, where I'm sitting right now.
Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, that looks good. And then one other piece that I don't know if it's specified in there is that we will ask each of you to kind of sit back so that we can see like your upper body and your hands. And the reason that's important when you're competing is you could easily have in front of you like a phone or a lab, you know, like a paper, and you could be writing down things and we can't see it. And that's the reason we're asking for like the coach to be, a learning coach to be by you, and that we can see the upper part of your body. So it's just all things to help make sure that we're in it together and that we're all doing the same thing. Good question. Okay, Max, do you have a question? Could just be that your hand.
Okay, my question that I forgot earlier was how do I sign up like for the spelling bee?
Okay, yeah, I will I'll recirculate it out because I know that we had more students wanting to sign up, and then I will grab it now and I can put it in the chat for you too. No problem. Let me just find it here just a second. Then I will add it in there for you. And then, yeah, you want to make sure, I think the deadline that we had asked, we extended a little bit, but was the 21st. So we wanted students to sign up by the 21st, just so that we can make sure that we know who's competing and how many students, so that we have all of your information ready to go. And I believe I have the link, so I'll put it in the chat. Hopefully this is the right one. And then it's also in the, there's like an attachment that will go out, and so you will get that email later today. This might not be the right one. Maybe if someone could check, let me know. If not, I'll put the correct one. Let's see, let's go to Hajara. Did you have a question? Let's see, I see your hand raised. And it looks like you're off mute, but I can't hear you. Oh, there we go. Now I can hear you.
My question is, do you give us the words for our spelling bee now so we can like practice them, or are they just gonna blurt it out at us random?
Yeah, so we will send out, there was an information sheet that went out in email, and then I'll send that back out again today. It'll go to your school email account. And at the bottom of that, it was just an attachment that's called like information and rules. At the very bottom is all practice words. And so they're all right there. It's all some practice words for you. And we will send that out to each of you again in your email so that you have it. So yeah, those are the words. We do just always put the disclaimer in that it could be different words. Like there's always opportunity that it could be a different word. I see, is it OB with a question? Thank you for raising your hand.
My name is Serene, but the thing is, what if you have like little kids next to you, but they can't really spell those words? Is it okay?
Oh yeah, like I mean, we definitely understand that we all have like multiple learners, students, pets, there's things happening. We would just ask that you can be set aside from them in a space and that you have your learning coach there to help. It does need to be quiet though, because if you are spelling, like when it's your turn and you're spelling a word, and then if maybe like your sibling or someone else in the room started to spell it too, that could disqualify you. So I think just making sure that they're quiet and that they're not in the view and disrupting. And Serene, sorry about that. All right, let's see. Miriam, do you have a question?
Yeah, what are we supposed to put in our video message thing?
Yeah, so the video message is just so that we can get a video of all of the participants we have, and it kind of helps the judges too, to kind of, so we have like a visual with your name as we put the list together. And it's also, we're going to use it for like a celebration for after, because we're going to put together like a celebration for all of you to celebrate with our school for your participation. We're just asking that you go on, that you say like your name, you could say what grade you're in or at WAVA, and then something fun about yourself that you'd like to share and what you're excited for about the bee, about the spelling bee. And if you are not comfortable doing video, because not everybody has to, there's also an option that you can add a message, like you can add a text message and like type in a message that just says like, my name's Miriam and this is my second year being in the bee and I'm excited for this. So you can type something in or add a photo if you don't want to do the video recording.
Okay.
Eliana.
Is there a separate list for every grade, or are all the lists for every grade?
Yeah, so we put all of the words in there. The reason I put them all was just for the fact that, say that a bee was progressing really quickly and the students were just getting every word, the judges could always jump forward and go to some harder words for those students. But so 3rd to 5th grade, we'll start with the level 1 words. 6th to 8th grade, level 3, and then 9th to 10th grade, level 2, and then 9th to 10th grade, level 3. So we'll start with those different levels for each of the grade brackets. Great question. And Naya.
My question is that if we get confused on the word, are we allowed to, like, Amanda, the word is tree, are we allowed to write it in a piece of paper and then say it?
No, yep. So unfortunately, you won't be able to have paper or pen or writing tools, nothing at all to help you. So that's why it's important to kind of stop and remember to pause, because you could try to like spell it in your head, you know, like you would on paper, but in your head before you say it out loud.
And a lot of people are asking in the chat, and they're asking me to save it, but they're asking, are we allowed to leave if we have no questions?
Oh, sure. Yes. Sorry about that. Yeah, I didn't have the chat put down. Sorry about that. Yeah, so if I answered your questions, you are welcome to go, of course. And then I look for the email that you're going to get, and also make sure to add your video entry. And then I'm going to hang out to answer any of the questions that any students currently have. But yes, if you've had your questions answered and you're good to go go ahead and head out and then look for your email. No. Thanks for your patience, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you. I'm so excited to see you in the Bee. All right. I'm going to keep answering questions. Hi. Jana, you were waiting.
Hi.
Looks like you had your question.
Like you.
Hi, guys.
Yeah. So I was asking, what if I like wanted to drink or eat something?
Great question. Yeah. So
Go to the bathroom or something.
Yeah, we will not do eating and drinking while we're competing, but if you need to for some reason, then I would like put in the chat, like if if there's a reason that you are really needing to, like say that you have low blood sugar and you have to have something, I would put in the chat so that the judges are aware that you need to go and get something to drink or eat. And then if the Bee does go long, they should be pretty, hopefully like an hour or less would be the goal. And if they do go long, we could stop and do a pause for like a water break as a group, or a snack break if we need to. But otherwise, like during the active Bee, everybody would just stay present and not eat or drink. And if you do have water near you to drink, you would just want to make sure there's no like words on your water bottle or anything. I know, so crazy. All right, let's see, Anaya.
So I have one.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry,
just
Jen.
one more question. So I have only one more question. Like, what if like the judges like forgot what like lost the paper or the words that they're gonna do, and they just remembered one of them, and we got it right, but they weren't sure, so they said it's wrong. So what happens then?
Yeah, so that, I mean, that could happen, right? Like judges aren't perfect and don't, there's always chances to make mistakes, right? So if you think that something was wrong or you spelled a word that you believe is right and they said, nope, you're disqualified. So I would, at that point in the chat, you and your learning coach could put like, we have a question, or we think that that's incorrect. Can a judge relook at this, please? Or can I get some help? Like you would put that in the chat, and then we have staff that is watching the chat, and they would go ahead and look at that and then talk to the judges. So yeah, we would definitely pause and make sure to try to help.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. All right, Serene, did you have a question? Looks like, oh, maybe she headed out. I can't tell. I think that's it. Alani, do you have any other like last tips you think for anybody, or things that maybe I've missed?
Oh, not really, but I just wanted to add that the trophy is really nice. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know they have some cool trophies, and it was fun that you got to like talk with other staff like at Stride and stuff too, which is really cool. That's really neat. All right. And how many of you in this room competed? I see some familiar, like Miriam, did you compete last year? I feel like maybe Miriam did, and I see like Syed, Ali, I feel like competed last year. So we have some like returning friends, which is neat. Well, is there any final questions before we end the meeting for today? And then I will get the information out to you guys, or does everybody feel like they got their information answered? It looks, yeah, like a yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming today. And I'm super excited to see you guys on the 1st. And then just email if you have any questions or need any support before then. And I am here to help you. So have an awesome rest of your day, and look forward to getting my email this evening. Thank you guys. Happy Tuesday.